I'm sorry, I'll try harder.
Hello? What's up, chick? How was that 3-day weekend? Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it like I did. I got me a lot of rest. I tried to lay down and flip like a pancake.
The mysterious passing of 3
UK
sisters.
The
community is outraged, suspecting
but you
foul
know
play.
how it is. I got to
yes,
come on
there
here
is
and
a
check on
but
everybody.
discussion
and
coming.
I also have to talk about some things that affect us as a community. And I noticed online there was this something going on, a story about these 3 girls here. These are not American women of color. These women are from the UK. However, just because they're from another country don't mean that we can't figure out what's going on with them. So we're going to take a look at this because I don't live in that country. I'm only going to let the voices of the people that are there speak for them. Okay? So I have nothing. I don't know anything. Okay? I am just an innocent person who cares about everybody. Okay? So tune in, girl. All right. Bye. What's up, babe? What's up? How y'all doing? How was y'all 3-day weekend? Mine was pretty good. Now, as you know, I know y'all already overheard everything. I don't know if y'all saw this. I did share it. But these are AI generated photos, by the way, so I do know my facts. But the father had the photos created because he did not have an adult picture of his kids. So what you will notice, which we'll look at the picture of him and his girls, they kind of look like the faces of the girls in the picture, but just adult, and we'll point that out. So let's look at this real quick. 3 sisters who passed in the sea off of Brighton Beach have been identified as 36-year-old Jane A. DeToro, 32-year-old Christina Walter, and 31-year-old Rebecca Walter from the Uxbridge area of London. Their father paid tribute to his beloved daughters, describing them as their joy, strength, and light of their family after the tragic incident. Now, guys, FYI, from my understanding in the articles, the mother also passed from drowning. So we got to talk about some stuff, okay? So let's get a little bit of idea of the story. But I want to say this to y'all. Really, I want to say this to y'all, okay? As a community, and this ain't just, this is what I was telling y'all about the girls. This is the daddy. I need y'all to learn how to swim, okay? Now, my thing is this right here. I love the water. I call myself a fish, right? You know, I try, because I like the water so much, I try to make sure that my little people also understands the water and have a relationship with the water. Because water, we bathe our ass with water, right? But water also has other things too. Water has healing elements to it. Water is a place where you go when it's summer and when it gets hot, and it's around the summer. I don't want to hear no more stories of anybody else having this happen. Now, the people within the community feels like there could be other stuff, but as I told y'all, I'm not there. So what I will do is read the facts from what I have from this and people, and then I'll let y'all have it in the comments, okay? So I got this from People's Gazette. This was published on May 21st, and I got this because this had like a little bit, I figured it would have a little bit more than people because it's closer to them. So let's see. Fear mounts over fear. My bad, guys. Fear mounts over fresh discovery of 3 black sisters' bodies found in UK waters. The circumstances behind the passing of the siblings remain unclear as of press time. Now, this is the initial announcement. Netizen have called for a thorough investigation after 3 black sisters identified as Jane DeToro, Christina Walter, and Rebecca Walter were found dead in the sea off of Brighton Beach in the United Kingdom. Reports noted that the emergency services were called to the beach around 5:45 a.m. on May 13th when the bodies of the sisters were discovered in the nearby sea, which authorities later recovered their remains from the body of water. And the girls were fully clothed, by the way. From my understanding, they had been out without just hanging out, you know. The police were said to have combed hundreds of hours of security cameras footage obtained from buildings and businesses around the beach, but there was no evidence to suggest a third-party involvement or criminality. So they're saying that there was no evidence that made them think that something happened to the girls or something was done. The thoughts of everyone at Sussex Police are with the family of Jane, Christina, and Rebecca following this devastating loss. He added, I know this incident has had a profound impact on the local community in Brighton and across the country, and I'd like to reassure the public we will leave no stone unturned in our investigation to understand exactly what led to the tragic events of that Wednesday morning. This investigation will continue in earnest with Jane, Christine, and Rebecca's family at its center. I would ask that they are given privacy to come to terms with this terrible tragedy. The victim's father, Joseph, has also released a tribute mourning his daughter, stating that he was in great pain because Mims Adetero, 36, Christina, 32, Rebecca, 31, were the joy of the family. Today, with a heart full of sorrow and love, I pay tribute to my beloved daughters whose lives ended so tragically far too soon. No words can truly describe the pain of losing 3 daughters in the prime of their lives. Now, what I will say, guys, it gives false story. It really does. I did research because I was like, this gives a false story. But there were actually people from the United Kingdom, like men of color, that were doing videos advocating for the girls. They said that this has happened in their community, or there's been more stories of black people being found in bottles of water and the police not finding it suspicious. I have to say this because I am a person of color myself. And if anything would have happened to me and I were not here, I would want my family to try and figure out what the hell happened. Because from what I read, the girls had a good life. They didn't have a reason to topple over. I mean, suicide ain't gonna happen in threes like that unless it's a suicide pact. And this is not giving suicide pacts, because if you know anything, it's not giving suicide pact. It's not. Okay? There has been speculation online about whether someone could be targeting black people, particularly black women, and disposing of bodies in water. Black women deserve protection. Black women deserve urgency. Black women deserve to be found. For black women, UK said in a statement. So there is an organization or advocacy over there in the United Kingdom, just like there is here, that advocates for people of color. So once again, when I say this is we all come from different origins, right? So, but let's not play games that we do not understand that there is a difference within the community and how we are treated. That's what really caught my attention, was that man of color on camera saying that he was concerned. When a man that's truly a man speaks, we must pause and listen. He advocated. It was 2 of them that I found, and it was a woman, and she was also pleading and advocating. So I said, let me go ahead and speak on this story, because nothing is going to be swept under the rug. You understand? The one thing that God says, period, is that whatever happens in the dark will be seen in the light. Do you understand? So no matter what is hidden, it will be revealed. This world is not going to continue on the path that we think it is forever. So that's why I'm making a choice that I'm going to speak on this subject. And I'm going to speak on this subject from the people's perspective. Not from what I feel, because I'm not in the UK, but from what the people within that area have to say. That's why I wanted to read this article. The latest case of the 3 sisters has sparked fear among many on social media, describing the situation as suspicious. Now, this is from their people. So I don't need any American black people coming on here acting like y'all can speak on this, or really anybody, because I don't speak on subjects that I have no knowledge of. That's why I went to facts. And the fact of the matter is, there are 3 girls who went out and they did not return home. Okay? An Instagram user at MyDailyRPG said, this is suspicious. I hope it is being investigated. That poor family. Other people said, check their phones. This shit isn't making any sort of sense at all. Another user at Keep It Real Op commented, sharing similar thoughts. Another Instagram user at AntNow5509 raised doubts over police position on absence of a criminality at the moment, stating, every time police say there is no evidence of criminal involvement, there is precisely evidence of criminal involvement. In her opinion, at Little Angeles suggested the possibility of an serial killer, saying when suspects are Caucasian and their victims are black, this is what happens. They think we are stupid. Look at the Jeffrey Dahmer case in the U.S. Now, this is what their people said. I didn't say this, okay? So, it looks like that the people within that community are taking a stand and saying we want more answers. We don't feel like there's been enough justice. So let's go see what people, which is from the United States, have to say. And we're going to talk about the most recent article because people always compiles everything together. So bear here with me. Guys, now we have heard about what their side. Now we're going to look at how people's reading this. So now people, like I said, they said that the girls never recovered from their mother's passing, but I don't know what the relevance of this is, except for just the commonness of it. There is nothing else. I mean, I don't know what the implication of this title is. I don't know, but we'll see. 3 sisters whose bodies were found in ocean at Tourist Beach never recovered from their mother's drowning, family says. Police have formally identified the women as Jane Adetero, 36, Christina Wallace, 32, and Rebecca Walter, 31. The 2 other sisters are Walter. Sorry. Y'all know how I am. The family of 3 women whose bodies were recovered from the ocean near Brighton, England, is speaking out. Police formally identified the women, and it's now reported that the siblings had never recovered after their mother, Janice Adetero, 43, drowned in a lake in 2010. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all shut up. What do y'all think? Do you think it was a conspiracy theory? Do you think that they got caught up in the drafts and their mother's spirit came out of the water and said, "Come to me, daughters," and they went in? Anyway, the 3 women whose bodies were recovered from the ocean near the coastal city of Brighton, England, had previously lost their mother in a tragic drowning incident, according to reports. On Wednesday, May 20th, Sussex police confirmed that the women had been formally identified as sisters. I'm not saying these names again. Emergency services had been called to the beach near Black Rock parking lot off of Madeira Drive in Brighton on the day the bodies were recovered, police previously said. The sisters' father, Joseph, recently paid tribute to his daughters. Y'all know what that's the daddy. They said he was in a catatonic state, y'all. More recently, the late siblings' aunt, Ajiko Johnson, whom they call Auntie G, spoke to the Daily Mail, saying that Joseph had been catatonic since learning of his daughter's passing. A catatonic state is in a state of shock. It's like they're frozen in a state of shock. Jansen spoke to the outlet in a joint interview with the sister's stepmother, Genevieve Barnaby Adetero, mentioning that the women had tragically lost their mother in 2010 in a drowning incident. The body of Janice, let's get the mama on here. She look, her daughters, they look just like their mama, child. The body of Janice Adetero was recovered from Brookvale Lake in the suburb of Erdington in the UK city of Birmingham around a month after she had vanished in January 2010. Ooh, a month. Adetero had been reported missing from the family's nearby home, the outlet noted. Johnson told the Daily Mail it traumatized the girls, adding they never recovered. They'd been living in the Midlands with their mom, but then moved in with their dad and Genevieve in Umbrook afterwards. They picked up the pieces, she added to the outlet. At the time, Adetero had reportedly left the house without medication, money, or any of her belongings. Her brother previously said in a public plea before her body was found, "The girls are so upset and can't stop thinking about you, and you, for their sake, we need you to make contact," the outlet stated. Previous court records seen by the Sunday Times showed that Adetero had been sectioned under the Mental Health Act. Okay. On October 29, 2009, following some bizarre behavior and a mental assessment. So the mother had mental issues, so that's why they're bringing it up. But them girls ain't got nothing to do with it. Adetero was allowed home the following day before being discharged from the care of the home treatment team on December 22nd, 2009, per the outlet. She went missing in freezing temperatures in the early hours of the morning of January 5th, 2010 before her body was found the following month on February 3rd of that year. Coroner Aiden Carter previously said there was no evidence of any injury to her. She had passed from the drowning. There was no evidence that she had deliberately taken her own life. There was no suspicious circumstances, according to the Times. The coroner's office for the Birmingham and Solihull area didn't immediately respond when contacted by people for additional information. Barnaby Editero insisted she would have thought that the sisters walked into the water, but she wouldn't have thought that the sisters walked into the water deliberately, per the Daily Mail. Further details regarding the ongoing investigation are yet to be released. Editero recently told the time of her niece's passing. We're not speculating, but the girls were totally happy in the weeks and months before it happened, and it was totally unexpected. So that's what I'm saying. Like, honestly and truly, like, you can say, okay, well, Linda Lynn was going through something, and you can be like, okay, well, I can understand, but three of them, no. She insisted the trio were the closest sisters and best friends. That's what I'm saying. It was three of them together, and when you have a sister, you're never alone. When you have a brother, you're never alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never alone. You know, those are the people who, it may be hard to get through to them, but you're never alone. They were happy girls. They moved out of their dad's house 2 years ago, but would message at least twice a day. Editero added to the outlet, these girls would not drink alcohol or smoke. They never went clubbing. They didn't even have social media. They were their father's world. He has to sort the funeral for the three of them. Police said on Wednesday released that the investigation into the siblings' death was ongoing, but confirmed at this time there is no evidence to suggest third-party involvement. Authorities added that specialist detectives are working hard to gather the full facts and circumstances of their passing. The sisters' father, Joseph, said in a statement shared by the police when his daughter's identities were confirmed on Wednesday. Today, with a heart full of sorrow and love, I pay tribute to my beloved daughters, Jane, Christina, and Becky, whose life ended so tragically far too soon. He added that no words can truly describe the pain of losing three daughters in the prime of their life. Joseph continued, Jane, Christina, and Becky were more than daughters. They were my joy, my strength, and the beautiful light that filled our family with happiness and joy. You were deeply, deeply loved, and you will always be deeply missed. The tragedy of losing all three of you has left an emptiness that words cannot heal. There are days when the grief feels unbearable, yet I hold tightly to the memories we shared. The laughter, the conversation, the love, and the bond that death can never take away. Though you are no longer here beside us, your spirit lives on in our hearts every day. Love like yours never dies. You will forever remain a part of our life, our prayers, and our memories. Joseph concluded, rest peacefully, my precious daughters, Jane, Christina, and Becky. You may be gone from my sight, but never from my hearts. Forever loved, forever missed, and forever remembered. So, I have a comment here. I have a disability that can be passed on, so...
Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, they're saying the mother had a condition and it's possible all three girls genetically got the same. People should think about that and consider adoption. Yeah, nothing about this sounds right. I find it incredibly difficult to accept that these three seemingly happy kids committed communicable suicide because they couldn't get over the passing of their mother. Luman said, wonder if there was undiagnosed, unaddressed mental health issues. Smith said, the situation is tragic, but the pattern is impossible to ignore. A mother drowns, and then years later, all three daughters pass. That's not a coincidence. You can just wave away. So, guys, that's why I say I don't know what people was trying to imply, but I don't agree with that either. I don't agree that all three sisters had a mental health issue. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not that big of a follower. Do y'all follow people to the extent that you remember when your mama used to say, if one person jump off a bridge, you're going to do it too? That don't sound right to me. But anyway, get in the comments, sound off, and let me know what y'all think. This baby girl 411.